What's going on, everybody? Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis of Natty State Sports coming to you with another episode, a Monday episode of the Six Pack. It has been an eventful weekend. We got a lot to talk about. Andrew, you've been a busy man. I mean, you've been at Baum Walker pretty much the entirety of your existence the last few days here. So, are you aware of anything else that's going on in the outside world? I guess I should ask that question first.
Well, very much. The times that I have not been at Bahama, I've been with you at Buffalo Wild Wings watching some fights. So
yes.
I'm locked in on that subject.
That is on the agenda today.
That
so
is
we
on the
will
agenda.
get to that.
So that's the one thing. If you want to ask me any question about Arkansas baseball or the Ultimate Fighting Championship, I have the answer for you. Any other topic, who knows? But I'm ready to get rolling, man. I had a good weekend, so I'm feeling good.
Yeah. Well, while we were watching the UFC card, the NBA All-Star Weekend festivities were on in the background. It's a shame that they didn't have that audio on because apparently we would have heard just Kenny Smith out of pocket going off the rails. I don't know how much of this you saw, if any, but
I have the quote. I saw the quote afterwards, like you. I didn't hear it in the moment, obviously, but
was he drunk? I don't know what's going on, but he's kind of in trouble, or maybe people are pushing to cancel him for a couple different things from the night. But the first thing that I thought was just kind of bizarre and kind of interesting. Steph Curry and Sabrina Ionescu.
Which I watched that happen. I watched that whole
awesome,
thing happen.
by the way. I've been waiting for that, for a 3-point contest. Steph won, okay? Right. But Sabrina showed out. I mean, she
was at Oregon, right?
I don't know where she was from. I mean,
I remember her
she's
in
with
college.
the Liberty now. That's all I know.
Yeah, I just remember her in college. She was nasty in college.
Yeah, dude. And she's got mad range. And so they had the 3-point competition there against each other. Steph won. He had 29. He's probably the best shooter of all time. But Sabrina shot from the men's 3-point line, like the NBA 3-point line. She had 26. Like, it was impressive.
A lot of people. There was actually, I remember during the actual 3-point contest, there was a round where I think 3 people, I think it was like Karl Anthony Towns, Dame Lillard, and maybe someone else all had 26. So it's like, that tells you right there, like she fit right in with that. I mean, back in the day, dude, you could win the contest with like a 24.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know? So,
for sure.
I mean, that's stroking it, man.
Oh, yeah.
She's a pure stroker.
She was killing it, for sure. But the thing about it that was just weird is Kenny Smith just he just wasn't having it. And he was going off saying she should have shot from the women's line. That would have made it a fair contest. I still support Sabrina, but she should have shot it from the women's line. I don't know. I just feel like that's a weird stance to take when she shot from the men's and she had 26. She was better than half the guys who were in the damn event.
Right. If she had 7 points, and then if you had to defend her performance, that's the line you should have used. Mm-hmm. That is a very weird thing to say after you just watched. I mean, there was plenty of people who had less than 26. Plenty of men shooters over the course of the 3-point contest history who have less than 26. So that's a weird thing. And look, we're not going to sit here and act like we're truly offended by it. Like, I like Kenny Smith for the most part, and won a title with the Rockets. I always rock with Kenny Smith. I think he does a great job on TNT.
Yeah,
just a weird comment. Weird comment to make. And
well, he made it weirder for himself because Reggie Miller, to his credit, he kind of called him out on it. He was like, "Why are you going to put boundaries on her? Like, she wanted to shoot from the NBA line. She shot from the NBA line.
Shot damn well."
And here was his response, and this is the one that got me.
I didn't see the response.
Okay, so Kenny said she should have shot from the line. There is a women's tee in golf, and there is a men's tee for a reason. Now you're pissing people off.
I did see. Okay, I didn't know if that was part of it. Yeah, that's the men's tee for a reason is wild because golf and basketball, believe it or not, Curtis, are very different sports.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think
indeed.
Ronda Rousey should have to fight Sean O'Malley for the bantamweight strap.
Thank you.
I understand that men and women, there are differences, and we live in a society. Mm-hmm. This context, though, of shooting a shot against nobody, Sabrina, Kenny Smith, I guarantee you right now would not make 26 points in the NBA. There's no way.
Absolutely not.
And he could shoot it back in the day, but it's like she's clearly a high-level, world-class shooter. And she shot it from the men's line, shot well. It's like, this is a nothing thing.
Yeah, had she made like 6, then you could have said, well, why didn't she just shoot from the women's line? But yeah, that was a weird time to pick that argument. Right. A bad look for Kenny. But then he doubled down in the dunk contest. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see the double down.
Okay, so you know how they have it's like the LED court or whatever? Like they just can pop up whatever they want to on the court. Yeah. And so in the introductions...
Dude, it looked crazy, dude. I was watching the celebrity game. It was crazy. They had the Ruffles crunch time. I was like, bro, what's going on?
Oh, yeah,
the court was coming to life.
And so when they were introducing Jaime Jaquez, who was in the dunk contest, and he did like a salute to Mexican heritage. and the NBA players from Mexico have come in the past. Whatever, it's cool.
How many have there been? Like 4?
Yeah, I don't know, but they had like the lane turned into the Mexican flag and everything like that. And then all of a sudden you just hear Kenny Smith and he's like,
"Oh, I did see this one.
What's all this Mexican stuff about? Like, what's this Mexican heritage deal all about?" And so they had to explain to him at the time, but it's just a really tone deaf thing. After you already made a fool of yourself with the Sabrina chatter. So, yeah, I don't know what he was doing, man, but he was ticking everybody off on the set.
You think there's a chance Kenny had a few things to drink while he was in Indianapolis?
Drunk.
But they were in Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, Indianapolis.
Which, no, you've been in Indy. I have not. You like the city, right?
Love the city. It's great for events like this.
If there's a city you're going to show up drunk to, is Indy the one?
It's definitely one of them.
Is it?
Yeah.
I've heard...
Because you're there for a very specific reason.
It is a big party season, yeah.
It is, yeah. Their downtown is very... it's like compact with a ton of bars, and they're all around the arenas
it's all
and everything.
Walking distance, right?
Yeah, because like when I stayed down there, I assume this was at Bankers Life. I don't know what it's called now, but where the Pacers play.
Right.
And yeah, right downtown for the NCAA tournament when the whole bubble was there, everything was in walking distance. Yeah,
is it like super crowded down there where it's like hard to get into places? I guess you went during like kind of
semi-COVID, yeah. But I've been there for a Final Four before that, and it was it was pretty packed.
Yeah.
But it's
cool
definitely one of those places where it's not like unless you're going to the Motor Speedway or whatever to tour it, you're either there for the event you're attending or to get hammered. Like that's why you go to Indianapolis.
See, I kind of want to go to Indy when there's nothing going on. You know, when it's just like whatever. Maybe we'll go for the Indy 500. I guess that is something going on. But we go do that.
But
that wouldn't be downtown, right?
No, not really. But you can stay downtown.
Yeah, like that. Maybe we go to Indy for the 500. Yeah. We hang out downtown, we do our walk, our bar crawl, and then we go to see the speedway.
Yeah, why not? Or a Colts game, or I don't know.
I don't know why I act like we've ever even consumed the Daytona 500 or whatever, the Indy 500.
Yeah, I mean, I'll go watch
whatever.
What do they say? Turn left or whatever for 5 hours. I don't know.
Spoiler alert: they're going to turn left a lot. Yeah, we should go to a Colts game.
We should go. Yeah, no, I think that'd be a blast. Or a Pacers game.
Let's go to the draft combine. Let's do that. It's in Indy.
Now
right?
we're talking. Yeah,
let's go
now
to
we're
combine.
Talking. That's what we're gonna do.
Yeah,
you think they
we're
credential us for that?
I'm sure they would. It can't be that hard. Hopefully they don't see this, or we're just like making this plan on a whim, so they know we're not actually there to cover whoever the hell Arkansas has in the draft. Who's Arkansas have in the draft? Football.
5 guys, right?
They'll have somebody, right?
I think there are 5 guys going through. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who get drafted.
Not Landon Jackson because he came back to school. He's like the best prospect I could think of.
Yeah,
I'm completely. Nudie
he'll get drafted for sure,
Nudie,
right?
I would imagine, but
I would hope so. Yeah.
That was a tough one. That's a tough one for the Arkansas football program that we just couldn't come up with any draftable player.
Right. It's not their best work, but whatever. It's kind of an interesting segue maybe to our next topic because we're talking about, draftables and everything like that. And the NBA went through this whole deal where they started the G League Ignite program.
Oh yeah.
And so they were starting to pick off some of the best college prospects or basketball prospects to get them to avoid going to college because you could pay them and then just kind of put them in a confined space and prep them for the draft or whatever. Ron Holland comes to mind there, right?
Was he Ignite?
Yeah,
okay,
he's a G League Ignite guy.
Because there's another version. There's like Overtime Elite.
Overtime
Elite's
Elite's a little bit different.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but the same premise there.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because Adam Silver, he's obviously interviewed and everything at the All-Star Weekend, and he kind of called into question the future of G League Ignite, basically saying, given everything that's happened with NIL and all that, like it's just not as enticing. For those players because the main sell for the G League Ignite was their ability to pay.
Yeah.
And now you can go to college and get the college experience, play in meaningful games in front of big crowds. There's a lot of things that are enticing about that and make as much or more money.
And I'm sure Adam Silver also doesn't love the NCAA hating him. Yeah. Like I'm sure he doesn't like that relationship being weird. I'm all for it just because I'm a Rockets fan. And Jalen Green was one of those players who skipped out on college to go to play for G League Ignite. Mm-hmm. And now he's playing for the Rockets, and he has no sense of structure, no sense of responsibility. And he is kind of a roadblock in this future we're trying to build in Houston. I like Jalen Green. I cheer for the young man. I think that going to G League Ignite kind of was a bad decision for him in hindsight. Mm-hmm. I think he needed some structure. He needed to go somewhere where he could really be coached. And have that experience that you're talking about, being a part of a team where it matters if you win or lose, because that's one thing you definitely don't have in G League Ignite.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I just think, and look, I'm not having sour gripes about the Ron Holland thing, just because I think you and I both were. I don't want to get too into basketball recruiting talk, but I don't think either of us spent a long period of time thinking Ron Holland was ever going to Arkansas. I think we spent more time thinking it was never going to happen, rather than being enticed by that little window where it looked like they were going to.
Sure.
So when he eventually made the choice, it wasn't like we were like, oh, wow, what the heck? You know, it was kind of. But I think there's a lot of players where, now we'll see how it works out for his career, but I just think it's way cooler to have star players going to college. Like, I love college basketball when the top draft prospects are there. And like, look, if you want to let them go out of high school, which it seems like they're trending, I think that's happening soon, right? Like next year or the year after?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, but I think, and that's another aspect of this is those players that we're describing, like a Jalen Green or Ron Holland, if they can go out of high school, they're just going to go out of high school. They were probably never going to go to college anyway. So it's like, if you have them going out of high school, you really don't need a middle ground there with the Ignite. Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And that's kind of what Adam Silver was saying. I'm looking at his quote here, and he said, I'm not sure what the future of Team Ignite will be, because before there was a hole in the marketplace that we thought we were filling, and now my focus is turning to earlier development of those players. So yeah, I don't think it's going to be a thing much longer.
We can
is
make
he the
fun
best
of,
commissioner
he's
in professional
easily
sports?
The best one in professional sports. One, just because everyone hates Manfred and everyone hates Goodell.
Yeah.
Like truly, like unanimous disapproval. I'm sure there are people that hate Adam Silver, but if you just look at some of the big picture decisions the NBA has had to make over the last decade, they've been pretty much batting like 800. You know, like the bubble, when they had to do the whole bubble thing, that worked out flawlessly. They were one of the first pro sports leagues to pull that off too, so that was impressive. I feel like he's handled a lot of the draft rules that they've had to set now, and like I think they're finally going to reach a good point where the high school players can go, but the players that go to college kind of need to stay there for a little bit. Like I think that's kind of like where I guess in college you'll still be able to leave after 1 year, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, so it's like I think that's the being able to go to the NBA whenever is probably the right move, because you have all these guys who are clear NBA dudes that are just being part of the system, and so he cleans up a lot of stuff. I feel like they've handled everything well. I think the play-in tournament, people were antsy about it at first, and then it turned out to be a really huge success.
True.
Same with the in-season tournament. People at first were kind of like, oh, this sucks. I don't know what's going on. And then it happens, and everybody's like, oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
and
it's not bad. Right.
I just think that they've been kind of nailing a lot of decisions with the NBA, and so I think Adam Silver, man, whatever he says, I usually agree with for the most part.
Yeah, he should run for president.
Yeah.
Speaking of running for president, please tell me that you have seen Donald Trump's shoes.
I haven't. Let me Google them right now.
Yeah, you got to Google them right now, and I'll prime it up while you find a picture of them. Very, very interesting. So Donald Trump shows up at SneakerCon, which I think it was in Philadelphia, and he's dropping a shoe line. Like, Donald Trump is getting in the sneaker game, and I'm really interested to see if we wind up seeing any pro athletes rocking these things. I don't know if we will or not. But for
Enes Kanter.
Enes Kanter. Damn. For $399, you can get these shoes, but they're called the Never Surrender high tops. I mean, they are shiny. They're golden. They've got the American flag detail on the back of them, and he's
I can't believe that. Is there not a bald eagle on that somewhere?
Well, I feel like he has 3 different shoes out there. I've only seen the gold sneakers so far.
I'm looking at these gold ones. I'm looking at a couple different variations. Yeah, it seems like there should be a fat bald eagle just sitting right there. These are
exactly.
These are ass, Curtis.
They look like something that would be worn on like Rocky back in the day.
Listen,
you know,
dude, we don't talk politics on this show. If you want to vote for Trump, you're more than entitled to do that. If you want to vote for Biden, you're more than entitled to do that.
We're gonna talk about the weird shit they do.
If you're rocking this shoe, you need to look yourself in the mirror. What are you doing? What are you doing,
for
dude?
$399?
This is literally like, and look, I supported the Ball family back in the day.
Oh yeah,
I didn't buy that damn shoe that
Absolutely
they sold
not.
for $400. Like, and if you did, you need to reevaluate again. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
This is an open
so,
scam.
It's
man.
so funny because the launch of it came a day after
the fraud thing.
Yeah, the thing in New York where like him and his company had to pay $355 million in penalties, and he's like, oh. I'm gonna launch these shoes, and you can pay $399 to get them. So, I don't know about those, man.
This is a heat check from Trump, which he has a lot of, where he's pushed the limits of like what he can get stupid people to do.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so much so that he successfully ran for president of the United States. That was pretty far. But I think he's just kind of like throwing stuff out there just to see who he can get
It's
on
so
board.
funny, man.
And I mean, they're going to end up making some amount of money off it because I don't think it costs $400 to manufacture this shoe. Just looking at it,
Right.
I think enough dumb people will buy that.
It's pretty hilarious looking at his quotes. I can just hear him right now, but apparently it was like a mixture of boos and cheers, which is I think typical for any political figure, including Trump. But he's got like the shoes in his hand. He's just like, where was this at? It was in Philadelphia.
Gotcha.
He's like, there's a lot of emotion in this room. You know, this is something I've been talking about for 12 years, 13 years, and I think it's going to be a big success, huge success. You know, and he's just like pimping out his shoe brand, which is just amazing.
I respect it, man. Respect the hustle.
If he was going to start this, he should have already signed somebody to a sneaker deal. You know,
yeah,
like,
he could have found an athlete. Nick Bosa.
Yeah,
the
why
cover
not?
athlete. Yeah, but what NBA player are there any NBA players that are like openly? Jonathan Isaac, weirdly enough, probably not a huge one you would have expected. He's a huge Trump guy. Maybe that's who he should target.
Well, maybe they branch into UFC. Like maybe Colby Covington will wear his shoes for sure.
Colby Covington will wear these suckers in the octagon, man.
Yeah, and he would buy them with his own money to
even
get them.
Sean Strickland wouldn't wear these shoes. I feel confident in saying that. Man.
It's so funny.
It's a stinker of a shoe.
God, I love the quotes. He's like, I have some incredible people that work with me on these things, and they came up with this. It's going to be a big success. We're going to turn this country around and fast. We're going to turn it around, and we're going to remember the young people, and we're going to remember SneakerCon. That's a speech right there, brother. The Donald Trump shoes.
Go get them today, folks.
Dude, there's just this picture of him like looking down. He's holding the shoes like in his hands as if he's like walking off the court or walking to the court. It's just
anybody
wild,
listen to this, please, if you were buying this sneaker, we need to see a picture of you in them whenever they show up.
Yes. If somebody sends a photo into us rocking the Donald Trump sneakers, there'll be a prize involved. It won't be a $399 value, but there will be a prize involved.
And it will probably involve us buying you a few beers at Flyway at our next event.
I think that's right. Yeah, show up at Flyway
with your Donald Trump
Tuesday
sneakers, bro,
for the basketball stream in your Donald Trump sneakers, and the drinks are on us the entire night.
100%
done.
Or they're on Flyway, one or the other.
Yeah, either way, you won't be paying for them. So.
If you show up to Flyway in Donald Trump sneakers, you're not paying for drinks, buddy.
Yeah,
you're not paying for drinks.
A perfect segue as we reach our midpoint here from Donald Trump's sneaker game. Which makes no sense, is to Beyonce being a country music superstar, which I had no idea about this, Andrew, until I saw a story. Just read it today, and it was a radio station, I think it was in Oklahoma, that was catching so much heat for not playing Beyonce's country music. And everybody's like, oh, they're racist or whatever. But the truth is, like, these people, it's a smaller station, like a local station, they had no idea that she had country music that had gone out. Like, they didn't have the music, and it wasn't like a personal thing.
Have you heard the song, by the way?
They thought it was a joke. I've heard both of the songs. Me and Scotty listened to them right before you got here. The Texas Hold'em song is kind of a banger.
I've only heard the Texas Hold'em song. There's another country song?
Yeah, it's called 16 Carriages. And it's okay. It's not my cup of tea. But the Texas Hold'em one, I was like, you know what? I kind of like this a little bit.
And I would classify it as country. Would you? I mean, it's country,
I
right?
definitely think so. And to be transparent here, like, people have been sampling Beyonce's songs in country for years and years and years, like decades. And she's got tell me I'm crazy, but like there's some sort of, I don't know if it's a family connection. She has some kind of ties or connection to the country music scene anyway. And I don't know what it is, but she definitely does. At any rate,
I feel like I remember her going to like the CMT Awards or something like.
Maybe
like
that's right. Or like she had some kind of some kind of duet or something with somebody there. But no, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. I think it's cool, and it wouldn't surprise me if she winds up winning, some country music awards for it.
We talked about this a little bit on the Grammys episode that we did.
Yeah.
Which, if you're new to the program, we covered the Grammys around here.
Was she rocking the?
I don't know if she was. I don't
maybe
remember
it was the
her
Super Bowl. I don't know. Sorry, carry on.
She was the Super Bowl. She was
wearing
rocking
the cowboy
something.
hat and stuff.
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Yes, that did happen.
Yeah.
But at the Grammys, so Miley Cyrus won Best Country Album of the Year.
That's right.
And people were pissed about that too.
Yeah.
And look, like, Miley has definitely had ties to country for a while, but like her album was less country than these songs that we're talking about. Because like I know some of the Miley songs, like I was rocking with it, and I like that album. And I remember people being upset about it, and I'm just like, dude, it kind of just is what it is. Like, the awards and like what categories they go in, like I don't know what goes into it, but I don't think it's worth being upset about. Like, people just like famous people, and it is what it is. So yeah, if you were expecting the deep cut country guy, freaking whoever. I can't even think of that. Like Wetzel. Is that the guy that Scotty listens to?
Yeah.
If you expected him to win whatever, like it is what it is. Like I'm sorry, but yeah, I don't know. I think it's always so funny when people gatekeep their thing.
Yeah.
You know, like whenever the people that are diehard fans of a niche thing, and country's not niche, but I would say that the people who are pissed off are the niche country fans. The ones that are like, wait, this is really whatever, and they don't want their thing to grow and reach other audiences and stuff like that. I'm like, do you, man? Do what you got to do.
It's just like the Florida Georgia Line Nelly collaboration where people could listen to that song and be like, oh, Nelly, it's not country, but then it's also Florida Georgia Line trying to get into the pop scene. So you can go either way with it, but like I didn't have a problem with that. And you see, I've seen some country artists who take like R&B and hip hop music and spin it into country, which is, you know, it's whatever. Lil Nas X has his thing. So
you remember that Dirt Road Anthem that had a Ludacris track?
Yes,
Jason Aldean.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. Well, and there was what was the other one? There was another one. Did Tim McGraw have a? I think about it over and over again. Was there a rapper on that song too?
Yeah, I think there probably was.
Yeah, there's been some good ones. And honestly, dude, I really think it just comes down to the artist. Like, I'm not saying that we should just let artists do whatever they want. I don't think it's our position to interpret art our way and try to put it in whatever box we want to.
Right.
I think just, you know, if Post Malone is another one who's been a little bit blurred lines of terms of he does some rap, some country,
doesn't
some
he have
pop
a country
or whatever.
album, like a country specific album coming?
I think that's been something he's said for a while, and he's definitely done country songs and country performances. I think it's cool to let these artists cook in different avenues. Like I really like that, and I think that should be normalized. So I think everybody should shut the hell up. Is what they should do.
You know what's an absolute banger? You probably heard this. I don't know for sure. When Chance the Rapper did the Hot in Here in country on whatever late night show, that was awesome.
I love that, dude. Chance the Rapper was cool for a while.
Yeah.
Maybe he should do country now because he's run out of tricks on rap a little bit.
That's also true.
Once he stopped being a heavy drug user, his raps really went downhill.
Changes things. Like, I mean, imagine if Lil Wayne stopped drinking promethazine.
Be Chance the guitar strummer. Don't be Chance the rapper anymore. Be Chance the banjo player.
Yeah, sign me up for it. No, I thought it was cool. I think Beyonce in the cowgirl outfit.
Remember when Lil Nas X was another one they tried to shame out of country music?
Oh, yeah. Don't be that guy or gal or whatever. Yeah. No, I think it's cool.
They, them, whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be them.
Gosh, man, this has been such a fun episode. Now we got to go to some somber stuff.
Is it that somber? Curtis did it. I want to set the stage for y'all yesterday. Man. So look, if you listen to the other day's show, we prepped you for this UFC card, and if you didn't watch it, you're an idiot. It was awesome.
It was awesome.
It's a great event. It lived up to. I would say the event itself just lived up to the hype. The crowd there was crazy. I think it was I think Dana White said it was the highest gate in California history.
Really?
At least in combat sports, I should say.
Yeah.
So any boxing, MMA, whatever, that was the largest in crowd or in person crowd, at least ticket sales wise. That was crazy. It was packed. So Volkanovski, who we love, old man Volk,
who had just turned
35 and was undefeated at featherweight, he gets KO'd in the second round. Curtis and I won money.
We did
on the night, and we won money on that.
Pretty healthy
result.
Amount of money to be
watching Curtis try and like fake like he was sad about it was so funny because look, we like Volk a lot, and that was kind of part of the premise of why we bet on Sampdoria is because like we knew that like we would rather profit on something that was sad like this rather than if we had bet on Volk and then that happens and we're depressed.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like we bought that, you know, or we profited off of his loss. But watching Curtis like sit there and he was like trying to like do the like. When the other team gets an injury and like the Drake meme where he's like, oh, like he's like faking like he's upset. Curtis was just like, oh man, that's tough for Volk, man. Tough break, man.
Well, I'm a big Volk sympathizer. One, because he's hard not to love.
He's the man, dude. He deserves so much
legend,
respect.
But also, as a man who just turned 35 himself, to hear this whole ordeal about how he's old and washed up and everything because he just turned 35, I'm like, no. Bullshit. Like, I'm still in my prime, you know, and so was Volk. And then he was just outclassed. Like, I know he called for the rematch, and Topuria was like, well, I think he should move on, but he's a nice guy. I'll give it to him if he wants it. Nah, like, nobody needs to see that. It's over.
No, man.
I think it is the end of an era.
It's definitely an end of an era, like a
Start of a new
changing of a
one.
guard, whatever term you want to use.
Topuria is a bad man.
I mean, that's the biggest takeaway I have from the night is like,
yeah.
he's 27 years old. He's now 15-0, the featherweight champion of the world, as his Instagram bio last week predicted.
Yeah, wow. And call me crazy because I felt like right before Volk got knocked out, I was like, Volk might be like,
yes,
he might be about to teach this dude a lesson because he was starting to kind of piece him up, and I was thinking, you know what, we might have a fight here, and then just took one right, and
I think that the way that it played out almost made it more impressive in my eyes because like Conor McGregor knocked out Jose Aldo in 13 seconds in his similar situation back in the day when he was on his way up, and that was his changing of the guard. And that was an awesome moment, one of the best in combat sports history. But we didn't get to see the full fight. It was a little bit different. And there were still people that night who were like, or even for the months and years afterward, who were like, man, Aldo should have gotten a rematch. Like, it would have been nice to see them really mix it up a little bit because they really just had one exchange. That was what made this one more impressive to me, is that we saw these dudes exchange. We saw Topuria get his reads, take his time. All three judges gave Volk the first round, by the way.
I saw that, yeah.
Which, like, again, doesn't matter when you get knocked out in the second.
Right.
It was late in the second. He was winning the second round, too.
Yeah, he was.
And like you said, it looked like he was kind of starting to figure it out. He was starting to land that jab a good bit. He was beating up his legs. He was kicking his legs a bunch. Volk threw so many kicks in the first 2 rounds. Like,
he called that, by the way.
He was just spamming kicks, and like Topuria was kind of getting like he wasn't hurting Topuria. But Topuria admitted after the fight that he was getting frustrated a little bit of like the timing and the Volk speed was kind of throwing him off. And that's another part of this is like, this is not a situation where Volk showed up here and just looked old, which is kind of what like we were worried about. Volk looked like Volk.
He looked good.
And he looked like he was, making his adjustments. And I was like, man, it's just, I said to you after the first round, I was like, I don't like what I'm seeing because it looked like Volk was a little more frantic than usual.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was throwing some of those kicks and they, like I said, they weren't hurting Topuria. And it felt like every time Topuria touched him, it really shook him a little bit.
Yeah, he just seemed so aware of how powerful Topuria was. And it just bled through and, proved him right.
Dude, power
because he legitimately slept him.
Yeah. I mean, he just folded him, man. And it really, when it happened live, I thought he like hit him nice with a nice combo. He threw a nice combo, but really only one of them kind of landed on the side of his head. And then there was only the one that just cracked him right on the right hook that just cracked him on the chin.
Yeah.
It really was a one-shot KO. And I mean, he was out as soon as that punch hit him. I mean, his eyes took a while to really close. He was kind of, there's a picture of him where he's on the way down and he's kind of just like staring straight into nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I think his soul might have left his body. And, man, it just like, again, and this is what's tough. We talk about how on the last show, how Volk took that fight on short notice against Islam in October. And it was very weird to see that happen. And we knew in the moment, like, oh, this wasn't peak Volk. This was 11. But you got to see him really look human. And I think that ruined this moment a little bit for me because I'd just seen Volk get knocked out.
I know.
I'd seen him look like we kind of proved that he was human and that we're like, oh, wow, this guy was going through some stuff, which again is normal. But it's like it ruined the allure a little bit because like seeing this, it was kind of just confirmation of what we knew was possible.
Yeah.
It would have been more stunning. One of the odds, we would have made a lot more money on Topuria because he would have been like plus 190 if Volk had not fought in October.
Yeah.
But man, dude, Topuria is a scary dude. This dude is a superstar, Curtis. Like I saw he gained like 600,000 Instagram followers. He's up to like 3 million now.
Yeah, he's cooking.
He's got a huge.
You mentioned this too. I think you're about to say it. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he's got a huge following overseas.
Oh yeah.
And those Spanish crowds. So like Thursday night at the press conference, he was getting booed and he was telling everybody, which I thought was crazy. He said, "You're all gonna become instant fans." So bleep. Cover your son's ears. So shut the fuck up. That's what he said. And it was like, I remember thinking like, oh, this is a good heel moment. But then Saturday, he was not getting booed. Kind of like he predicted. Everybody was instant fans. But the Spanish crowd showed up. And it's in LA. So it's not a short flight from Spain to LA. But dude.
And and you brought this to my attention, but his marketing and pub team, videographer, everything he puts out there looks like a freaking movie. And
they're literally filming a movie. He said that going into the fight. This is nuts. This is real Conor McGregor type stuff here because he said going into the fight that they were filming this movie about his rise to the belt, and it was going to go in theaters in Spain afterwards. Like they're going to put this. And he just went out there and did it. It's like, hey, yeah, we just need you to play the role. He was playing the role of guy who just beats everyone's ass for several years, and he did it. Beat Bryce Mitchell on the way to it. I mean, This dude
Good
just,
for him.
And dude, every highlight you see of Topuria knocking someone out, they look like they die. When he went up to 155 and knocked out Jai Herbert and just folded him like a chair, like it just including this one against Volk. That dude is just terrifying, man. But
he is.
Curtis, right as I was going to Twitter to pull something else up, I saw this picture and it was from 2 years ago, and it's Israel Adesanya, Alexander Volkanovski, and Kamaru Usman. 3 men who at that point in time, Kamaru Usman was number 1 pound for pound, Volk was number 2, Izzy was number 3. All 3 of those guys were on crazy long win streaks of like 8, 9, 10. And it's like, man, these guys are never going to lose at their weight classes. Like
Life comes at you fast.
Then all of a sudden, Kamaru gets head kicked, which, by the way, Kamaru was the least likely of all these guys. Gets head kicked by Leon, and he has not won since. Izzy gets knocked out by Alex Pereira, got the belt back, but then had the worst performance of his career. Volk is now 1-3 in his last 4, which just feels weird to say about a guy who is 26-4 as a mixed martial artist. Man, it's just crazy. It's such a crazy sport, and you said it's a changing of the guard, man. It really feels like that. And I'll be honest, I don't know who Topuria fights next. I don't know, like that division. Volk had beaten all the contenders. Max Holloway, Yair Rodriguez.
I've heard people saying they'd like to see Max Holloway.
Yeah,
which,
and see,
I
say, Max Holloway's got a tough fight on his hands with Justin Gaethje at 155. So we'll see how that works. I think if Max wins or loses, I don't think Max is going back down to 145.
Yeah,
I think he's put on that weight, and I think he was prepared to move on because Volk had cleaned out the division and kind of made it his home. And again, I think Max also is doing the math and thinking, I fought Volk 3 times and I couldn't beat him. And that dude just folded him like a lawn chair. What's going to happen to me? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think Sean O'Malley, who I love, he was there in attendance. He looked great. Had the mink coat on and everything. He looked like a stud.
But behind those shades, he was going,
Well, I think he saw Merab earlier in the night, by the way, which we can get to that fight a little bit.
The whole night, he was
had
like,
to see Merab, and he's like, okay, that's a tough fight, but okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
Seeing Ilya, because he had been talking, saying he wanted that Ilya fight. I can't wait to hear his podcast on Monday and to see if he's like, maybe not. Because, O'Malley, funnily enough, had said from the jump, he's like, I have no interest in fighting Volk.
Yeah.
And he's like, look, I'm not saying I couldn't beat him, but he's like, I don't have that. I don't really want to hit. Like, I don't have a burning desire to test my skills against him.
Right.
Topuria, he kind of likes John and they've had some back and forth, and they've called each other some names. And I would love to see that fight because I think that's the 2 biggest stars you have right now in the UFC. And I think 27 and 28 years old, I think we need to have that fight this summer. And I think both dudes' stock will go up from that. And I think that'd be a fun one, especially because from O'Malley, it'd be up a weight class. It's like, it's not going to change anything. But
that's true. That's a good
I guess
point.
Since I mentioned Merab, we should go ahead and just mention that fight.
Yeah. We got to rapid fire through these other ones because they were some good fights.
Yeah.
Shout out to Merab.
Merab, the big night for Georgia.
Yeah.
This is the country because Topuria, spends some time there.
Shout out to Merab for the WWE style fireman carry and then just
picked up an Olympic wrestler and carried him on his. And look, these guys both weighed in at 135 pounds. This is not a bigger guy. 2 small guys, one of which wrestled and won a gold medal in the Olympics. Yeah. And he gets picked up and carried around the octagon. And he was pointing at Mark Zuckerberg and stuff.
Yeah, he's choking him out and pointing at Zuck. Like,
oh, man. It was a great showing from Merab.
Yeah.
Henry tried to retire, and they didn't even put a mic on him.
No, because Merab won't shut up.
Ever. Yeah, Merab went too long. And Dana even defended it. He was asked about it in the press conference, and he's like, no, it was Merab's night.
That's fair.
We had stuff to get to. It is what it is. Henry can retire now or later if he wants.
He did say he will fight for the belt next.
He did say that, which I appreciated because he also said that Leon Edwards said yes to 3 UFC 300 main events, which I appreciated him doing that because people have tried to paint this narrative that Leon is inactive and he's whatever. Leon has never said no to a fight.
Right.
He's signed up to fight Hamzat Chimaev 4 times over the last 4 years.
Oh, yeah.
Including on UFC 300.
Yeah.
He's not scared of anyone. So I'm glad that he said that just because Leon's not main eventing. I'm sure there were some people who wanted to be like, oh, why is Leon, whatever.
Right.
But
nah,
I appreciated that he did that.
Life.
I appreciated that he gave Merab his flowers a little bit because he hasn't given Merab many flowers because for a lot of reasons. But
no, that was good, man. I really enjoyed that one. Listen, Paulo Costa lost, and he did lose to Robert Whittaker, and very much so. Shout out to Robert Whittaker for eating that kick to the freaking cheek. That was a shot. But also, shout out to Paulo Costa for being back in there. I thought he looked great. That was a really fun fight.
And Dana said as much after the fight when he was asked about it. Like, both guys just looked really solid. And he said you could tell it was a good performance for Whittaker. Coming off of a loss, you get kind of dominated by Dricus du Plessis, and you've lost to Izzy. So it's like you're starting to have those questions of, can I hang at the top of this division? Am I still that guy? And it wasn't like Paulo didn't show up, like you said. I mean, he was in great shape, throwing bombs, man. He was hitting them with some big shots.
Yeah, he was. Those
kick
kicks was nuts,
and dude,
man.
Every time, Whitaker would like kind of kick these little low kicks. It was a little bit like Volk Taporia. He's throwing these little kicks, and then Paulo would just rear back and slap his thigh, and it was like, it was like it would hurt way harder.
And any shot Whitaker would land, like Paulo would look at him and just be like,
laugh at him, and it was like, oh man. He even hit the same kick that Paulo hit. He hit him with a kick and it hit him in the face, and he was just like, Great stuff. I thought it was just a really fun, back and forth, entertaining fight. Two high level dudes who showed up, which is kind of what we on the Friday we said, like, just watch that fight, and if you want to decide if you like MMA or not, just watch that fight. And I thought it was one that lived up to the hype. And I hate to say it, Curtis, there was one fight on the main card that really did not live up to the hype.
Nope, it did not.
Ian Machado Gary continues to be undefeated. He's 14-0. He won via split decision.
Yeah.
But two judges gave him all 3 rounds against Jeff Neal. One judge gave 2 rounds to Jeff Neal. So that's how we get there. That's split decision here. Just looking at the stats here, total strikes, Ian 80 to Jeff Neal's 57. Significant strikes, Ian 67 to Jeff Neal's 46. I don't have a round-by-round breakdown. Jeff had a lot of control time against the fence.
Yeah.
Now, if there's one thing I will say about this fight in defense of Ian Gary, he clearly frustrated Jeff Neal in terms of the range and being elusive, and Jeff just couldn't find a home for any of his big shots, really. And anytime he did, you could kind of tell it was shaky in a little bit.
Oh, yeah. Well, those guys were getting booed for a majority of that fight because people, I think, were expecting a slugfest there. And I actually will give credit to Ian in the post-fight presser because he was like, listen, he was like, if you've got a guy like Jeff Neal coming, he's throwing bombs at you, what are you going to do? You're going to back the hell up and get out of the way. And he was saying, like, my job is to make him miss and counter and be tactical and take advantage of his mistakes. That's what I did.
And for the most part, he did that.
Yeah.
I just wish Ian would have taken a few more risks to maybe try and land that big one that really...
Given his circumstances, he should have. Because now,
I think so.
Nobody's excited to watch him and Colby Covington now. Nobody wants to see that.
And I think if you're the UFC, it's tough to book that fight.
Exactly.
Seeing what you've seen from both these guys in the last... Now, look, Ian is a freaking special talent. He really is good. Yeah. And, like, that's, I think, a part of what people were booing is because Jeff Neal kept pushing him up against the fence and controlling him, which Ian kind of brought up where he's like, yet another guy who gets in there and strikes with me and then decides, oh, maybe I don't like striking with this guy. Maybe I want to take him down, and couldn't take him down. So it's like Ian's takedown defense holds up. He wasn't getting manhandled against the cage. Jeff Neal, I thought, was in tremendous shape.
Yeah,
he looked like
great,
a very good and very game Jeff Neal. We found out that Ian Gary was better than him. I think that's what we found out.
He is. Yeah.
The gap was not as big as I hoped it would be. He didn't have that Shavkat-esque performance, at least in my eyes, where he had to really battle adversity and then came back and landed. And Shavkat finished the fight, man.
Yeah.
Shavkat he landed a huge bomb and then submitted him. Like, I'm not saying Ian had to do that, but it's like you just see the levels of this game a little bit.
Shavkat would kill Ian Gary.
I mean,
now.
seriously,
like,
I really
actually
think
kill him.
If the UFC wants to get bold, I think they should book that fight. Now they are former training partners who like each other.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Now Ian's trained with literally freaking everyone. He's trained with Leon, who he's now talking crap about. So it's like, who knows?
Yeah.
Ian has actually said publicly, I will fight Shavkat if they book me again. Like, if they ask me to fight him, I'll never turn down a fight. And he was like, Shavkat's a nasty dude, and we would put on the fight of the year. I don't think either of them are super interested in it.
Yeah.
But, like, dude, it's the game, man. Dana just said, I don't want people turning down fights. If you're Merab, he just now got to the point. Merab had to beat 3 former champions to get over the fact that he turned down a title fight against his best friend. So it just is what it is.
For sure.
I'm still now Ian is 26. He's 14-0, like I said. I mean, Ilya Taporia is now 15-0. Like, he's not on that level yet. There's no reason why Ian can't be in the title picture by the end of this year. I think he's maybe 2 wins away. I'm still a believer in him as a character. I'm still a believer in him as a talent. I'm underwhelmed by the performance I saw, and I'm not like that bothered by it. Like, it is what it is. He took care of business against a dangerous dude, and he got it done. I just wanted him to be a little bit more special than he was on Saturday night. Is that all? Am I allowed to say that?
You're allowed to say that. No, I think that's a fair assessment. I'm with you. Obviously, I was being an Ian Gary hater given his situation, and I will continue to be. But
Curtis said it at least 5 times while we were sitting there. He just said, "I'm not impressed with Ian Gary. I'm not impressed with Ian Gary.
Not impressed.
You know what? I wasn't super impressed with him. Yeah. It wasn't. He's had performances like that before, by the way. He's had. Me and my buddy. I got to give a shout out to one of my best friends, Colby Parker. We've been on this Ian Gary train together for back when he was on the prelims. Matter of fact, you remember that time we went to Twin Peaks like 2 years ago and there was a card happening and I was like, hey, there's this Irish kid. That was back when he was on like the early prelims of like his second UFC fight. So I've been rocking with this dude, like kind of watching his trajectory, hoping it would. And last year was a huge step in the right direction. I'm now at least a little concerned where I'm like, can he really compete at a top 5 level? What would he look like against Gilbert Burns, Jack Della Maddalena, who, by the way, those two guys are fighting March 9th.
Yes, they are.
I would love to see Ian against the winner of that fight.
Oh, there you go.
I would love to see it because I think Gilbert, if he wins that fight, is probably not in a position where he's going to go into a title shot. He probably needs one more. I think beating Ian Gary would do that. And if Jack Della Maddalena comes out on top, that's another up-and-coming prospect. Throw them in there together. 2 high-level strikers. Let's see what happens.
Why not?
I think that'd be a great fight for Ian. So I'm kind of hoping they go that direction. I don't think Colby Covington's going to sign up to fight him. I really don't.
Shouldn't. But, he needs to sign up for them Donald Trump shoes and move on with your life.
There was one fight, just in case anyone was wondering. Now, I told people I liked Kopylov, so he lost. But if you were questioning whether I know ball, I did say if he stays on the feet, he's going to knock him out. And if he gets taken down and can't get up, he's gonna be in trouble. First round looked like he might knock him out. I mean, he was landing some bombs, landing some good kicks, and then you could tell he doesn't know how to wrestle at all. He couldn't stop the takedowns. Once he got down there, just looked lost and got rear naked choked. And he actually held on to the rear naked choke and like ate it for like a minute there. I thought he was going to survive. That was actually one of the cooler moments of the night, though. Hernandez on his back, and he's just like,
he knew, man.
And he's sitting there like it was very good. Travesty, by the way, on the prelims. We got to really quickly touch on the fact that our girl, Mackenzie Dern.
Well, Mackenzie Dern put on a show that was very fun to watch for multiple reasons, and she got robbed.
She did. I mean, I think she actually got robbed.
I think that's the
unanimous
the case
decision
of the night.
was crazy too.
Come on, man.
And I think Lemos is a badass, and I like watching her fight.
She almost finished her. Was it first round?
It was the second round.
Second
round. It was
okay,
early in the second round because Dern. You remember? So the first round. In the first round, what it came down to.
Oh, she got that takedown late.
There was a point where I remember they showed the stats, and it was halfway through the second round, and it was like 13-0 on significant strikes. Like Lemos was just kind of piecing her up, like landing some good ones. You know, not wobbling or anything, but clearly landing the better shot. I mean, the only shots. And then Dern got a takedown at about the 2:30 mark and just held it the rest of the round, landed some strikes here and there. I thought for sure that would do enough to win her the round. It just didn't on any of the judges' scorecards.
Crazy.
Which, like, you know, typically I lean damage over control. I had rooting interest and money interest and all that, so I was hoping. But I think 2.5 rounds. It's just a fascinating fight to watch. And then, like you said, second round, Dern just gets dropped like 10 seconds in. She was trying to go in for a takedown, and she had to survive a storm that I still don't know how she survived.
I don't either.
I thought the ref was gonna. If the ref had stopped it at any moment, I would not have disagreed at all.
No,
I would have been like,
"Damn,
she got knocked out again. Like it is what it is." The fact that she was able to recover from that, have some moments in that round,
and then she
easily won the third round.
Oh, girl,
easily
the
won the third round.
Yeah.
Really impressive performance from both girls, honestly. I thought they both showed up. I thought Lemos kind of faded down the stretch, but clearly she did enough to win the fight in three judges' eyes, so it's like hard to knock it. That was just...
Dern still got paid.
Dern still got paid. They won fight of the night, by the way, which I was...
Oh, yeah,
which was
fair.
I thought Costa Whitaker might get it, but I'm okay with those girls getting it. That, it reminded me of that fight, actually, where now it was a little bit different because there was some more grappling and stuff, but it just two high-level girls at the top of their divisions who, like, showed up. It was number 3 versus number 7, and it looked like number 3 versus number 7. I liked it. It was good stuff.
Yeah, it was a good stuff. It was some good stuff. Let's roll through a little Monday medley action, and then we'll get out of here. Real quick, your thoughts on the UFC 300 main event that was finally announced. It happened.
I'm very happy. So I'm not like, again, there's a lot of fans who were expecting Brock Lesnar versus Jesus Christ to be the main event of UFC 300.
Yeah. Oh, Conor McGregor Khabib part 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah. And now look, now I was on that train a little.
I mean, it would have been awesome.
I was there for about 2 hours. About 2 hours. I was hoping for. It would have been awesome. It seems like they're keeping McGregor on ice. Which, by the way, according to Ariel Helwani, who's very plugged in, Conor McGregor is healthy, in shape, in camp. The UFC chose not to have him as a UFC 300 main event. They feel like UFC 300 is going to sell itself, and with all these fights, and now that you have Alex Pereira, one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Now Jamal Hill, who won the light heavyweight belt last January, been out for a while because he tore his Achilles playing basketball. Respect that. Former hooper also, so we rock with him. That fight is going to be one of those that, like, casual, like, I don't think there's many people listening to this that know who Jamal Hill is, even though he's a former champion. That fight is going to guaranteed be a good fight. I mean, that's two high-level strikers. Somebody's going to sleep. That's going to be a fun one. And I'm excited to see what Jamal does with the big stage.
Right.
He also said in an interview yesterday that he didn't know, like, this was not a realistic possibility until Friday.
Oh, yeah, I saw that.
And he was just like, look, I wanted to do it, but, like, we all want to do it. Yeah. We all want to get that call. And I got the call, and I said yes. And coming off an Achilles that he tore in early July.
Yeah.
Really, I mean, I will see how he looks.
Pereira's going to eat that calf up, man.
That was kind of my first thought. I was like, I would not want to fight Pereira after coming off a leg injury.
Yeah.
Man, but we'll see how he looks. But I'm just very impressed that both those guys are stepping up and answering the call.
Yeah.
A little surprised because Rio de Janeiro's they're going to Rio de Janeiro in May, and I thought Pereira would be there, but it is what it is.
Hell, maybe he will.
I'm excited about that. That's going to be a good one.
Sure.
People are going to complain, but they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's going to be a fun event. I'm looking forward to it. And I'm looking forward to Conor whenever it is that he happens, and I'm okay with them separating the two because UFC 300 is going to sell,
it's
and
good
Conor is going to
actually.
sell. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need to overload it. It doesn't have to be this Super Bowl level card when you have to put on 13 events a year.
Exactly. No, that's true. That's actually a really good point that I hadn't considered. So I think it'll be a good one.
And also they'd have to pay Whaley and I guess Pereira or whatever champions, they would have to pay them the pay-per-view points for a McGregor pay-per-view, which the UFC doesn't want to do.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So no, that'll be a lot of fun. Excited for that. Couple things that I noticed. First of all, shout out to Brittany Griner. Got her number retired at Baylor.
There you go.
She's been through it. Hey, you just try to take Benjamin Franklin into Russia and get put in prison for a year and have to get traded for an arms dealer to get back in the country. Yeah. So she made it back home. Jersey number retired at Baylor. So good for her.
Very good.
Trivia question for you.
Let's do it.
How many SEC games have South Carolina women's basketball won in a row?
I saw that they're now 25-0 overall, but I'm going to go with conference 70.
Damn.
I don't know. What is it, 40?
They might get to 70.
What
it's
is it?
43.
43,
and that's a record,
dude. That's
apparently.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's over.
Nuts.
That's over 2 years now. We're going on 3 years.
And there's some, there's good ball, women's basketball in SEC. So, 43 in a row they have won. So, good on them.
Yeah. Looks like they're going to be right in the mix again to win the title, it seems. I think they're there.
I guess so, unless they run into our girl, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. That's going to be a freaking...
Sign me up
women,
for that, man.
I mean, even LSU still got a good team, so it's like the women's Final Four is going to be a show if the Stars can get there.
Oh, yeah. No, I think it would be awesome. Yeah, LSU's got to get there, too, and then you'd have everything that you need there for sure.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. The last thing I had, did you see Victor Wembanyama just dropping the F-bomb so casually during his interviews at the All-Star game? Yeah.
The FU word?
Yeah, the what the F.
Okay.
He dropped two of them. When he was being interviewed, he was talking about like some of the conditioning stuff with Pop, like Greg Popovich, dropped a what the F. And then, he had a second one after that. And it's like, hey, brother, you can't do that on national television.
19 years old, man. That's relax.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, no, that's all I had. So, okay.
I mean, I don't think I have anything crazy off the top of my head other than, guys, remember to rock with everything that we're doing here.
Yeah.
Natty State Six Pack. Pot at the Palace, Bombastic, the John Neighbors Show. I'm sure there's something else I'm forgetting. We got all kinds of cool stuff in the works, man.
Get to Flyaway
Tuesday night for sure.
We're going to be there from 4 to 6 for the John Neighbors Show, but then we're sticking around.
Yeah, maybe after.
And we're going live for the Arkansas versus Texas A&M basketball game, which, listen, does it have any meaning? No. But did Arkansas play really well on the road in Starkville on Saturday? Yes.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be entertaining and come out there and hang out with us.
We're going to have fun.
Good food, good beer, and some good company. So be out there.
There you go.
All right. Well,
I think I'm all set, Curtis. I had a great. This was like maybe my favorite episode we've ever done.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. I enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it. And maybe we'll do it live from an unknown, undisclosed location here in the very near future. We'll see.
We got a lot of stuff in the works for this week, man. We got a lot of fun stuff going on at Natty State, so join us.
That's right. All right, brother. Well, that sounds good. Well, appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Yep. And for Andrew Ellis, it's been Curtis Wilkerson with Natty State Sports, and we will catch you guys on Wednesday for the Six Pack. And boy, probably a lot between now and then on everything else that we got going on over at Natty State Sports. We'll see you guys soon.